Scaling your budgets is very different than scaling your bank account. Getting better MER is not the same thing as making more money. Having a higher contribution margin doesn't mean anything when it comes to the size of your bank account. Now, last week in our live, we break down all the math so that you can understand and decipher the lies being told to you by performance marketers and what actual business success is reliant on. We broke down volume and margin. And so today what I want to show you in our series here is we're going to actually break down how to optimize and scale. Now, this is from a much larger deck that is part of the Facebook Ads MBA program as well as Disruptor School. Let me throw this up on the bottom here. If you want to join the MBA program, you can book a call to join today, disruptorschool.com/MBA or / whatever. Anyway, all that being said, what I'm going to share today is the 3 things you need to know. 1, your real results. Like, we never need to actually worry about attribution platforms ever again because it's a complete waste of your time and money 99% of the time. We're also going to dive into 4PI analysis to actually know what's going on with your ads, right? Another reason why you're going to be able to optimize your ad account by knowing what's actually going on with your ads and the way that Facebook is using it instead of audiences, which is objectively just a completely terrible move for anybody trying to scale. And also with a 4PI analysis, you'll never be focused on cost caps and ASC ever again because you'll be able to build a funnel that scales. And then we're going to get into scaling your ads. All right. What you need to know about efficiency and volume, vertical, horizontal, surfing versus stable. We're going to dive into all of it today, plus all of your questions. Go ahead. Remember, as always, super chats make it to the top of the list. And we're also going to try to take a little bit of time to dive into all of your questions from all of the wonderful videos we had on YouTube this week. Let's see, what actually went live this week? I'm even struggling to remember everything at this point. Okay, there's a step-by-step tutorial for scaling your lead gen funnel with Dad Gang as the example. I showed you how I set up the campaigns for Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads book premiere so that you can understand how to do lead gen, but not just with leads, but actually with conversion campaigns and how to customize your conversion events to find, in this case, enhanced leads, but you could also do it for upsells. And when people take different products after the primary offer, so you can understand why people are taking the higher AOV instead of just trying to push down your CPA. Because remember, last week we focused on why your cost cap is crushing your growth, why focusing on the CPA or contribution margin or MER is the reason you're not making nearly as much money as you could. We also had a great video on HexClad, building a 322 prospecting ad from scratch live on the video. So this week has been a baller week inside of YouTube. And so anyway, I wanted to address this. Also, side note, next week on YouTube, we're going to be having videos for local businesses. So check that out. One of my favorite things is going to be literally me showing you step-by-step what I did with my wife's Pilates business, real world fitness studio, using Instagram ads and ManyChat step-by-step so you can copy and paste your way to success. We also have 5 killer ads, so we're going to review, plus a template you can use right now with organic and paid, and also a deep dive through ManyChat flows so that you can be making money without having to spend any more and leverage your organic social in a much better way. Anyway, all that and more. Yeah, plus a bunch of YouTube shorts and stuff. I'm actually doing one right now about an ad that spent $2 million and why it worked, because you can 100% do that. So anyway, all that to be said, let's get to it. And welcome everybody around the world and seeing this. It's wonderful to see folks from Montreal to Paris. Bonjour. And also down under. I don't know why you're still awake, but thank you for watching all the way from New Zealand. I appreciate it. Anyway, let's get started. And this is actually from inside the community in Disruptor School. So this deck was posted in this school about 16 minutes ago. This is a 69-page presentation. Nice. And this will also, in a more moderate level, be shared to YouTube. I'm working on a 90-minute to 2-hour-long course for everybody to understand how literally to go from I don't have an ad account to I have a best practice campaign and ad account built up so that I never need to hire any agency ever again. We're going to do all of that stuff. So I'm super excited. Anyway, today we're going to get into, like I said, real results, your ecosystem versus platform. We're going to get into 4 PI analysis, the 4 key performance indicators you need to know, as well as scaling your ads. So all that to be said, let's get started. Boom, there we go. So the first thing that we need to know when it comes to scaling your ad account is, what are your actual results? If you're still worrying about silly things like platform level reporting or investing in third-party tools to let you know, well, actually my attribution is this, but it's actually that because of the model and the multi-touch, all of that is nonsense. None of that is real. I've been inside of businesses where we spent $100,000 a month to put together basically very fancy and in-house built versions of a Northbeam or Triple Wheel dashboard. And the honest truth is, the version of the truth that everybody went with was the one that kept all of the vice presidents in the company happy. I've done this for over a decade. There is zero legitimacy to trying to make decisions on platform-based results. What you need to understand is your actual blended costs. This is the only thing that actually matters. Now, when we go back to last week's video of everything you know is wrong, around the document that lets you be able to understand and project all of these things so you can plan 3x growth instead of 30%, 300% instead of basically what you should be doing anyway. What you need to know is ultimately your all-in blended CPA. The only thing that matters for your business is how much does it cost to acquire a transaction and what is the average transaction worth? And then you can get more elaborate things like, is this a new person or a returning person? And we've also had videos you can check on the channel so that you can use Zapier to track new customers inside your Facebook dashboard. If you do not yet have new customer as an available column inside of your Facebook dashboard, you literally have no idea what your Facebook ads are doing. I got 100 sales. Great. Are any of them new people? Are they all repeat? Are they all also being attributed to Google and to email? Am I giving credit to 7 different teams that are all stealing from each other? Maybe that's the reason why I'm only getting 30% growth each year instead of 300 to 400% growth each year. And I know that it kind of sounds ridiculous to talk about 300% growth, but let's just go over a couple of the things. 310 Nutrition, when I went there, we went from 15, took 5 years to go from 3 million to 15. Took us 18 months to go from 15 to 98. Sorry, 20 months to go from 15 to 100 mil. 98 was the check from Deloitte. You know, I've also famously talked about Under Outfit, right? We went from 50K a month to 7 million a month in like 2 years. These are things you can do, right? Like we went from 50K a month to $1 million a week in 18 months. You can do this stuff. I've also done it with SaaS companies. At My Life, we went from 3,000 a day to 50,000 a day in paid ad spend, and went from needing 45 to 60 days to see a profit to a 20% margin on day one. These are all of the things that you can do. They're 100% possible. But if you don't know your actual blended costs, then you have no idea what's actually going on. It means you can't really understand how to optimize what's happening. So let's break down the sales funnel and customer journey so that we can understand each part of the funnel and where we're getting money. The most important thing that we need to understand here, I'm going to just go ahead and bring this up real quick. That hide forever. Okay, no. So what we really need to understand here is the way you make money. Now, most people start at the Facebook ad and work their way down and then move on. And your performance marketers, your cost cap mafia folks, right? Your Andrew Ferris's and your, common thread collectives. If you get into, the people from bad marketing or any of these folks are performance marketers, basically anybody big enough to talk on stage that needs a sales team to land clients because they're not good enough at doing the work to earn the trust of people and rely on relationships to really make things work. These talking head led low integrity operators, what they're going to tell you is that the better you get on the Facebook ads, the better the business is going to be, which is completely false. right? We broke down last week around why cost caps and focusing on contribution margin and MER is crushing your growth. But let's actually break this down here a little bit for you. So getting to this, your sales funnel and customer journey, what really matters here, your profit comes from the second transaction of a customer in your business. If you cannot get anybody to buy from you a second time, the reason you're going to fail is because you have a bad business. Solve that first. Now, second purchases require a first purchase. So the customer journey is second purchase, right? Let's do it over here. And then we slide forward to first purchase, which is conversion rate. Now, also, what is that purchase worth? So that's AOV. And if we can understand what products, when they're sold the first time, most heavily index towards somebody buying a second time, well, then we're going to have the conversation of why are we promoting any other product? And the answer is going to be, well, because the contribution margin, because of the CPA, because of the cost caps, because of all of the things that make the low integrity operator who's taking credit for the success of your business model as a reason that they're good, even though all they're doing is charging you a ton of money to have a predatory business practice that is non-sustainable. Instead, you can begin to look at, okay, say I'm selling 5 different products. One of those products, 80% of people buy a second time. And let's say the other 4 products, less than 10% of people do. So that you know, people buying a second time based on the first product they buy is one of the most projectable and stable and stickiest stats in any business. Your first touch point with a customer is not your profit point. That is buying a lead. Now, if you can profit on lead gen, great. But every business is about buying relationships. Cash flow. Cash flow isn't how good am I as a salesperson. Cash flow is how much revenue do I get? And that revenue should not be dependent on your ability to make a sale. That revenue is dependent on how good is your business in getting people to want to come back and buy from you again. If you can't solve that problem, fix that before you throw all of your money into Facebook ads, because remember, that's the last step of the process. And we're going to get to that here in a bit. But the first purchase, would you rather, let's put it this way, would you rather have a contribution margin or MER of a 4 on a product where when you're doing good, it's a 4, and when you're doing bad, it's like a 2, and nobody ever buys again? Or would you rather sell a product where maybe you break even or make 5% profit, whatever, and somebody buys 3 more times over the next 12 months? One of those things gives you basically free money over and over again, and you can invest some of that additional profit into scaling your business. We're going to get to that in a little bit. You can do that to exponentially grow your business. And by that, I mean 2, 3, 4, 500% growth. Or you can live and die by your ability to hack the machine to make the front end profitable. And because you're not actually worried, because you're not actually focusing on everything else in the business, you're not ever going to make more money than what the salesperson can bring you. And if you're worried about platform level results, the results that that salesperson brings you isn't even real. So we have second purchase, then we have first purchase. And again, AOV on that second purchase is also an inflection point that we can work on. If you get somebody to buy twice, that's 2 opportunities to get them to pay you more money when they do, and also an opportunity for them to pay 3 or 4 times. Now, why does this all matter? Because all of this is stuff you should have figured out before you spend money on ads. Now, maybe you're spending money on ads anyway, in which case I'm not saying that you're at a loss, but what happens above that first transaction is now getting into marketing. Now, above that is your organic sales, your organic marketing, your organic social, your YouTube account, your TikTok, whatever. Above that begins to have proactive outreach, which is email and SMS. Very low cost, very high intent, not scalable, right? Like you can't just get more email addresses for nothing. Like there's a there's something to it, right? Above that, yes, I do read the chat, by the way. I'm just trying to make to a point, and we'll get to you here in a bit. I see your questions. Above that, we then get into intent-based marketing, which is often PPC. This is Amazon. This is Google. This is search. This is Bing. This is somebody typing in keywords because they know what they're looking for and they're trying to solve that problem right now. I want to compete to be the thing they see first. Above that is intent creation. When you're paying for intent creation, that's your Facebook ads. That's what you're doing with all of your other marketing efforts that's paid. Now, the top of the funnel is the least efficient, and it funnels people into PPC, which then funnels people into CRM, email and SMS. Then you also get more people into your organic marketing. Then they buy, and you can work on AOV, and you should be focusing on selling that product that most often gets somebody to buy a second time. That's how you actually optimize your account. If you are spending 50% of your money promoting a product where nobody will ever buy a second time. No, this is not a fake webinar. I'm not running a webinar at all, just sharing a deck. Every Friday at noon PST, you'll find me here live, all right? There we go. Yeah, no, not a fake webinar, Labid. Okay, all that to be said. If you're right now running your ad account to get the best CPA on Facebook, what you're doing is shrinking the volume of opportunity for PPC. You're shrinking the volume of opportunity for email, and you're having almost no real impact on organic social. Like running really good ads, and by that I mean really catchy ads with cost cap and advantage shopping and really aggressive marketing, isn't going to be the thing that's going to get you more Instagram followers or more YouTube subs. Is not going to be the thing that allows you to access revenue for cheap later. In fact, because you're attracting so many different types of people, because you're running so many different types of ads, the kind of folks that go through your funnel are different every single day. Let's think of the funnel as your store. If the person who walks into your store is different every single day, do you think you're going to be able to optimize the layout of your store or the products that you sell? Because you're also promoting 1,000 different products. The answer to that is no. You're never going to be able to do that. So the better you get at optimizing and making your CPA on Facebook better by doing 1,000 hacks by people who legitimately either don't know how business works or don't give a fuck about you, the more you lean into that style of advertising and marketing, the worse you're going to be at everything else that is far more profitable and scalable. And there's a reason why most of those folks brag about either landing a client who never needed them, going back to the HexCloud video earlier, right? Like your ad agency landed a client where you have Gordon Ramsay selling cookware. The reason they're successful isn't because of your Facebook campaigns. Sure, that helped. But you're a nickel out of every $100, okay? The point here is optimizing your account is about understanding what happens at Facebook that best empowers your search and your email and your organic social to get somebody to buy the thing that's most likely to get them to buy a second time. That's what you should be optimizing for. Don't sell 5 products that all have a good contribution margin. That's the easiest way to destroy your business. Sell the one product that's most likely to get somebody by a second time. Then all of your search decisions, all of your email decisions, your landing page decisions, your organic content can focus on selling that product. You can actually be a business that's growing instead of a salesperson with multiple things to potentially try to get somebody before they learn that you're a complete scammer and never come back to you again. One of these is a business. The other is a salesperson. One of them will make an 8-figure business. The other one will get you struggling to see 7 figures. And if you ever get more than 30, 40% growth in any year, then you have beaten the odds. But you could get 2 to 4, 500% growth. There's a reason why folks in the Facebook Ads MBA program are exiting their business. We've already had 2 exits, somebody else on their way to $100 million business. There's a person that joined last year, 18 months after starting. They're now talking to my investment banker friends about exiting, and it's 2 guys in the early 20s. And they're probably going to be both get a check for $3 to $5 million. They started their business 18 months ago. And there's another guy in the Facebook Ads MBA program who started a teeth whitening business out of the UK, was about to give up on the business, joined the program, and is now having a conversation to potentially exit the business. And he'll probably see north of 20 mil right now in the current world. Getting 2 to 3, 4, 5x growth every single year in a completely sustainable way that is not dependent on cost caps and advantage shopping and gurus and affiliates and trend hacking and all of this other stuff. That the only reason it'll work is because you capture lightning in a bottle now, and it's completely not sustainable. So the business only works if you can get lucky over and over again. And if it requires you getting lucky over and over again, what happens if you get sick? What happens if you want to sell the business? What happens if you start to hire out and now it's no longer you making all of the decisions? Well, your business isn't going to grow. So again, you're going to be stuck at considering something 20, 30% growth, which, hey, look, good for you every year. It might take you a decade to get to a 7-figure business or an 8. But you could do it in less than 2 years if you actually focused on doing what matters. This is how you optimize your account. And ultimately, that brings us to understanding your ads portfolio. Understand that every ad impacts every other ad. Every part impacts all of your others. It's not about a winning ad. The folks that say, what I need is a winning ad, are basically saying, I'm going to win the basketball game by having just Michael Jordan and that's it. Only LeBron on the court. That wouldn't work. Steph Curry against 5 won't work. Against really like 8 or 9 because there's backups too, right? Messi is probably the greatest soccer player or football player ever, but Messi's not going to win with nobody else on the pitch. Your ads all have a role. If you don't know the role that your ads play, you're ultimately optimizing to which one is most efficient. Which one is most efficient has nothing to do with how to scale your business. That has everything to do with actually crippling the growth that you could have because of all the things that we just talked about and what we talked about last week with the Everything You Know Is Wrong video around the document of mapping your growth and understanding profit volume instead of contribution margin. Because let's be fair, if somebody's pitch is we're going to make your ad account complicated to leverage your contribution margin, that person objectively does not give a fuck about you or your business and does not know how businesses work, nor do they understand how Facebook works. But they're very good at, sniffing their own farts in the dark and taking advantage to people that don't have the opportunity of learning. We're here today to make sure that you don't need those people anymore. And if I can put those people out of business, I'll be happy, because that means that there's a lot of other folks in the world who will not suffer because they work with them. And sure, those people have employees and families. And to be fair, those employees can get jobs elsewhere. And if your business is built on being a low integrity predatory operator and your business no longer works, that's a you problem and an integrity issue. And if me helping people avoid being taken advantage by your low integrity predatory business practices is bad for your bottom line, then so be it. You reap what you sow. So let's understand the ads portfolio. And that's what we're really going to dive into. I see you got some questions over here. So actually, let's pull this up real quick. Okay. How do I use 322 method if I want to get ads in different funnel levels in one ad set? Honestly, this is an amazing question because we're going to cover this in just a moment. Do I need 3 different ads with 322 in one ad set? I would recommend having 3 ads, 322 ads. I would not have more than 1 322 ad in any ad set. Remember, the campaign makes the decisions. Here's how Facebook works. The campaign decides which ad set to spend on. The ad set decides which ad should get the budget. The learnings at the ad level informs the ad set to understand which ad to spend on, and those ad sets help the campaign decide which ad set to spend on. That's how CBO works. That's how campaign budget works. When you have 50 ads in an ad set, that ad set has no fucking clue what to do. And and we have a bunch of those sitting under one campaign, the campaign has no idea what to do. So what happens? The things that get lucky early get a bunch of spend. All of your ads fatigue constantly. Your performance is completely non-stable or projectable or predictable, and you can't scale your business. Otherwise known as the business model of Common Thread and Ferris and all these other low-integrity operators that have no concept of how Facebook actually works, but are really good at making you feel smart while they steal from you. Okay, so let's break this down. 4PI analysis. This is how you can actually understand what's going on in your ad account. I can use a 4PI analysis to understand how any ad is working in any ad account in less than 30 seconds, and so can you. There are only 4 metrics that matter: spend, frequency, CPM, and efficiency. Nothing else matters. What about my cost per ad card? Doesn't fucking matter. That's a website problem. What about my link click cost? Doesn't fucking matter. You have no control over cost per click, and Facebook is not a CPC platform. And to be fair, if you have an issue there, it's going to show up in these 4 metrics. What about, hook rate? Awesome. Does that actually impact performance? No, not at all. Hook rate has no impact on your actual profit in your business. Now, generally speaking, an ad with a good hook rate is going to have a lower CPM, so it shows up in this analysis. And it might have a low frequency, which shows up in this analysis. And based on that, it might get more spend, which shows up in this analysis. And ultimately, that might deliver a good or bad efficiency, which shows up in this analysis. The hook rate is just some output that is later on. And hey, look, it's really valuable for a creative director, but has absolutely nothing to do with the money in your bank account. I want you to understand you've been taught to value things that have no value by people that don't know how the machine works, that have never seen the success that you want to have, and ultimately don't have your best interests at heart. Not all of them, but a lot. So here's how this works. How do you know if an ad is doing its job well? Remember, we talked about, well, I want to have good winning ads. Okay, great. Is your ad a prospecting ad or retargeting ad? Is it top of funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel? Okay. Here's how they work together. If an ad has a low frequency, and by frequency, the only frequency metric that matters is when you hit breakdown by day. I don't give a damn about your frequency over a week or a month or a year. That doesn't matter. I'm going to share this video about an ad that spent $2 million. It's 1.8 million on that ad, and the frequency lifetime was like 4. CPA was in the 60s, and that's an 8-figure business now. Like, you can 100% do this. The metrics you've been taught to look at don't matter. So if your frequency is low, and by low, we're going to have a cheat sheet here in a little bit, maybe less than 1.15 means less than 15% of people are being retargeted with your ad each day. Retargeting is how the platform uses your ad dollars and your ads. Now, you might have an audience that's only a retargeting audience, but you can 100% prospect within that retargeting audience if your frequency is low. Yes, you are going to be hitting people that are already aware of you, but almost everybody's probably already somewhat aware of you in some fashion or another anyway, or it doesn't, like, that's not the inflection point. This isn't Google search. Sorry, this isn't Google display, right? We're not using email strategies on Facebook. It's a completely different thing, right? Like, you don't try to understand how much water is in a bucket, like by measuring the height, right? Like, you just, these things don't make sense, right? Like, what's the square root of the color purple? Doesn't matter. Like, that's not a thing that you can do. So what matters here, if your frequency is low, and then we should also potentially see a low CPM. If your frequency is low and your CPM is low, and by that I mean less than the average in your account, then I would expect the efficiency to be low, meaning a higher CPA. And if that's getting a bunch of budget, that's a prospecting ad. That also isn't necessarily a bad ad. If you've ever said to yourself, why is Facebook spending all the money on the bad ad? Why isn't the good ad getting budget? It's almost inherently because of the 4PI analysis. You would be able to understand that in 30 seconds. Oh, that really good ad that's crushing, super high frequency, super high CPM, super high efficiency. And the reason it's doing so well is because it's not spending a lot of money, because it's only being shown to the people where that ad has value, because it's a retargeting ad within your ad set. Generally speaking, vertical videos sit higher in the funnel than square images. Generally speaking, reviews and testimonials sit lower than demonstration of product. Generally speaking, us versus them sits higher than a features and benefits. If I don't know who you are, odds are I'm less interested in why you're good. If I've already seen a bunch of ads about your brand, I'm probably going to be more interested in seeing why I should care, right? These things make sense. So if you're doing your homework, then you're really going to be able to understand based on spend, frequency, CPM, and efficiency if your ad is doing its job well. For instance, if the frequency is low and the CPM is low, but the efficiency is bad, meaning the CPA is terrible, that means it's a prospecting ad that's probably not efficient enough. Let's take the other route. What if your frequency is high, your CPM is high, and your efficiency is bad, right? So what if this frequency is like a 1.4 every day, and the CPM is twice as high as other ads, and the cost per purchase is double your average? That's a bad retargeting ad. Your creative testing with your 322 ads and your CBO at broad with no exclusions, literally the only thing you need in your entire ad account. Focus on making a better retargeting ad. Then your entire investment portfolio improves. And that ultimately stabilizes and improves the volume and quality of people at the top of the funnel. They get to search and to email and to landing pages and to social, because you're speaking to that person that's getting whose attention you're earning with your prospecting ads. You're speaking to them better, more efficiently getting them to do something. That's what actually matters. And so let's get into this quick little cheat sheet, because I want you to have it. Here you go. Boom. What this means is 1.15 on a daily frequency means 15% of people are seeing your ad more than once a day. That's what daily frequency means. You might say, well, I'm targeting broad. I don't have retargeting ads. Yeah, if your daily frequency is a 1.5, 50% of people are being retargeted with your ad by Facebook, even in that broad audience, every single day. Retargeting and prospecting is not about your audience. It's about how the ads are being used. You don't have control over that. Now, you might say, I'm going to throw in exclusions, and I'm like this complex ad account with multiple ad sets and multiple campaigns and do all this other stuff. You have, if you do it that way, you have no idea why somebody's from one spot to another. You're optimizing to improve the efficiency of the overall funnel at the very top. You're treating the entire sales funnel and customer journey as just Facebook. And the odds of being able to scale that business is basically zero. And I've seen people that are successful in that way. And what I tell them is, like, imagine what happened if you leaned into your business model, which is the only reason you're successful. Instead of killing your business model's potential, what if you actually leaned into it and made it better? When people point to 30, 40, 50% growth as a win, first off, that's amazing. Good for you. It could be 300%. Paying people an astronomical fee to restrict your growth and make decisions more difficult makes no sense. And there's a reason why they want 3-month terms, and they'll sue you if you cancel the contract. Like, that's why Common Thread has that business model. E-com to scale. What are 322 ads? This is a lot to unpack here, but very easily said. Dynamic creative or flex ads, but select dynamic creative at the ad set level, please. 3 creatives, 2 primary text, 2 headlines, all of a similar concept. So that you give Facebook the opportunity of making the best ad for you. I have a ton of videos. You can go into ChatGPT, ask it about 322 ads. I invented 322. I invented 4PI. I invented PSM. I coined the term SPR. Like, there's a lot of these like industry standard terms. As somebody who's been around for over a decade, if you heard about broad targeting, it's probably from somebody that learned it from me. If you heard about dynamic creative, or I was one of the first like 7 people to run lead gen ads. I was running DPA and catalog ads before anybody else had them. Like, I'm just letting you know, that's sort of the answer, hopefully. But another way of looking at answer this, what are 322 ads? 322 ads are the solution to you playing the guessing game of wondering what words go with which creative, and ultimately playing the lottery on very low integrity data, on very low volume, to risk your entire future on what got lucky quick. 322 ads are the solution to the inability to scale and ad fatigue. 322 ads are the way that Facebook engineers design the software to operate at max efficiency, so that you can give the end user the best user experience, which gives you the highest quality of highest volume of user for the lowest price. You are business partners with Facebook. And I got into it with Ashton, formerly of one ad agency. Now he has his other one called Bad Marketing, where he said, no, Facebook's not, they don't have my best interest. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why are you giving them millions of dollars? You're in a business relationship with them. And we have an interview he basically, that he came on that interview, I think, to hear an apology from me. And I just got him to explain his thinking. And well, he's coming around more and more and more, but he's still pushing the decentralized ad account, which is stupid. Makes zero sense. Why in a machine learning database environment do you want to have a highly segmented, stupid machine that requires people to get lucky to scale? That makes zero fucking sense. So let's talk about scale. Okay. Whew. Fun stuff today. How to scale your account. As promised, let's get to it. First thing that you need to understand is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to scale efficiency or scale your budget? That's really the first thing. And I like, if you don't know what your goal is, the odds of you being successful are almost zero, because you're going to be optimizing to a million different things that are all competing with each other. And I'm going to just do this because we're like 37 minutes in, and if I don't, then like I'm going to be upset with myself later. By the way, this is Disruptor School. If you see the hat, this is the school. This is where we teach stuff. Trusted by 75,000 people, 5-star. Learn from people that have built $100 million brands. Trusted by folks like Ron from Obvi and Jonathan Snow from the Snow Agency and Avenue Z, Chase from Heatmap and Creative OS. And in this, by the way, if you want to come here, you can join the Begin to Win. It's like $7 for the first 7 days, and then $50 a month after that. After that, if you're ready to move on or you want more, you can join the Inner Circle. That's where this deck is actually coming from, is from the Inner Circle. It's $100 for the first 7 days, and then $1,000 a month after that. And then we have the Facebook Ads MBA program, which is the like #1 Facebook ads and business development course available. It's not a course, right? It's an entire program. We have a community. We have weekly calls. We have updating coursework every single week. Like, we had a lecture yesterday. Every single week, either myself or a guest speaker comes in. Sometimes it's both. That curriculum expands every single week. And that is where people go after they've gone through, your ad agencies, Slack groups, where you're basically just paying hundreds of dollars to talk to the same toxic people you saw on Twitter. You don't need any of that shit. This is what people join to help them get to 7, 8, 9-figure exits. We have at least 1 or 2 a year. Hundreds of people have gone through the MBA program. Not a single person that's done the work has ever asked for their money back. So, for whatever it's worth. And if you don't take my word for it, I launched a video in January where I literally showed the accounting and tax report where over $1 million in rev from this. We had less than $7,000 in refunds, and almost all of it was folks that bought an ebook or something and were like, I was unhappy. And I was like, hey, look, 30-day guarantee, you're unhappy with this thing. It was like 15 or 20 folks that had spent a couple $100 a piece. Anyway, just for that, if you want to also join it, if you don't want to buy it right away or you want to talk to somebody, you can also join this link down here, and it will bring you more information to help you understand the MBA program. And if you want more details than that, you can hop on the call with me or the team, and we'll break you down through everything that's going to go on. Basically, how you can target spend for maximum impact, reduce your workload. The people that join this program get their Facebook ads down to a couple hours a week max. They start to see growth in the 2 to 3 to 400% level. And they can spend the rest of their time working on the things that matter, because Facebook ads should be something that is more or less passive. If you do it right. If you don't do it right, well, then they'll never get to that place. Anyway, that all being said, check that out. We also have a premium version that does require hopping on the call so we can vibe check you, which is a little bit more expensive, but has its own private community and access to a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, scaling your ad account. Let's get to it. The first thing we need to know is, are you going to scale your efficiency or your budget? Now, very simply put, let me tell you something here. You can get, let's say, for instance, you want to get 10% more sales. There's two ways of doing it. One, you can reduce your CPA by 10%. Your blended all-in CPA. You can make your money work 10% harder. Or you can try to have your money work as hard, but add 10% budget. Now, when you're scaling your efficiency, making your entire funnel more effective, and sometimes that means just being better at getting more people to buy a second time, because those are still transactions, right? Like if you can go from 2% of people buy a second time to 10% of people buy a second time, your blended CPA drops dramatically, because it's still a sale. Blended CPA is total volume of sales from total marketing budget. If you get more people to buy from you a second or a third time, then you're doing so in a way where it's cheaper to get that customer to buy it. Like, you're making more sales. Inherently, one of the biggest issues I see people with, oh, I need new customers, I need new customers, I need new customers. New customers are the most expensive ones. If you need, what you actually need is revenue in the business, why not work on getting people that already bought from you to buy a second time? Why not make the business better? And why not focus on marketing only the products to get people interested in buying a second time? One of the biggest pain points, and I was inside this guy, he went through Andrew Ferris, and he went through Human X, and he had this ad account, and it had like 15 fucking cost cap campaigns, all of them launching 20 to 50 ads a week. And he's like, man, I have to be first order profitable. And I was like, why? And the answer was, because he was promoting so many products, he wasn't able to focus on the customer experience to get anybody to have a good enough experience with his business to pay him more than once. We immediately changed that in the space of like 3 weeks. We were able to change that by focusing on a product where when somebody bought it, they were likely to buy a second time. In that case, it was like some travel accessory business, and it was like charms from different parts you've been to and stuff like that. And they had a bunch of things. But what we found was when somebody bought a charm and they liked it, within 2 weeks, they were likely to come back and buy a lot from all the places they had been. Well, awesome. Why are we spending money on anything else? We're going to acquire this customer, and then they're likely to come back and spend more money on the second purchase than on the first one, and it also happens to be the second lowest CPA product you have in your business. Let's just break even on it. Within 3 weeks, his revenue floor went up 5%. 3 months later, his revenue floor has tripled. Revenue floor is the amount of money you make outside of ads. He's been able to 5x his spend because the revenue floor tripled. That business is scaling massively. It took a year to build out this massively complex system that was effectively seasonal. He was told it was seasonal. The only reason it was seasonal is because he was running a whole bunch of cost caps. So your seasonal is dependent completely on the cost of Facebook advertising. But it's not a seasonal product. My point here is scale your efficiency. Scaling your efficiency is infinitely stickier than scaling your budget. It is extraordinarily unlikely that you're going to maintain efficiency as you add budget. Now, at some point when you add more budget, you're going to get more data. And if you don't touch anything and you just let the machine get better and you work on everything that happens after Facebook, you're actually, because you scaled your budget or just your budget allocation to the product that's actually good because you're optimizing your account, you're going to be able to get more effective at getting a better blended CPA because you're getting more people to buy a second time and you're optimizing the customer journey for that one individual product. That's how you scale a business. Instead of letting an ad account, instead of letting an ad agency charge you to make creative and to manage your money, and sometimes they take a commission on it, sometimes they just charge you an egregious fee. I know an ad agency that charges $30K a month and will sue you if you cancel the contract. And the person that's actually running your ads might be between 24 and 30. Has never scaled a 7-figure, 8-figure business. They've never operated a 7 or 8-figure business, and they're getting paid like less than $1,000 a month. You're paying 30 grand to have somebody that's never been where you want to go get paid less than $1,000 to be in charge of your future. Now, call me crazy, but that makes no fucking sense. But some of those folks come into the MBA program and they're in a spot where they never need to hire an agency again. They're like, I can't run ads. I don't have all that time. How long do you think it actually takes for you to set up a creative test every couple of weeks? To set up automated rules to manage your budgets? And during a 4PI analysis, something can be done in 30 seconds, a couple of times a week to understand why some numbers may have changed. If you only need to log in to Facebook 2-3 times a week, and for less than an hour every time you do it, is that something that you legitimately believe is worth $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 a month? Now, if that provider is also doing everything else, like for instance, the Disruptor Agency, my Disruptor Agency Brand Accelerator program, Facebook ads is almost an afterthought. Like we manage them for you, we stabilize, we optimize them, and then work on everything else. Offer construction, deal flow, customer journey. We have a brand that came in that is in the air purifying business. We improved the AOV by 20%, 30% in the first month. We're now doing price testing to maybe get an extra 30% on top of that. And our ad spend for that business, our allowable spend on Facebook has tripled in less than 90 days. And they're actually more profitable in volume of profit than they've ever been. So let's wrap this up here. Dino, any news on the DPA Masterclass? I am working on it, buddy. I'm going to New York in about 10 days. And I'm going to probably do it live from the Marpipe office. But we're working on it. Like we are, you will have it soon, buddy. Okay, I promise. I know you've been asking about it. And honestly, dude, at this point, just get into the MBA, man. We'll break down the whole thing for you, or join Disruptor School. And we'll do it step by step, man. Like, let me help. I don't want you to be held off by one masterclass. You're going to have access to all of them. The Inner Circle, you'll have access to every single masterclass in perpetuity, plus the live calls we have every week. I had a 2-hour call there this morning. Okay, so anyway, scaling your efficiency versus scaling your budget. Understanding what you need to do. Can you make your money work harder? Or is it good enough that you can add a little bit of budget? Which ultimately brings us to the second thing. Are you going to scale vertically, meaning add budget? Or are you going to scale horizontally, meaning you're going to add complexity? Now, a ton of scammers out there will tell you, we'll just, add another 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th, 15th ad account. Like I see, I got into a common thread ad account the other day, and I saw 20 campaigns that all had between 6 and 10 active ad sets, all targeting different audiences. And each one of those ad sets had maybe a dozen live ads. That's a machine with thousands of moving parts. When something goes well, why? When something goes wrong, why? You have no fucking clue. There's no ability for you to ever be able to extrapolate any actionable insight from that ad account. Other than, wow, I hired these guys and it's not going well, and I've got to wait another month and a half before I can hire anybody else, because if I cancel my contract, his lawyers are going to come after me. Like, what are we doing? You don't need those people again. So when is it appropriate to do these things? Well, do you have a new business objective? Then it's appropriate. For instance, we had this conversation in the Sharper School Inner Circle today with one of my students. His name is Dath. He's VP of marketing of like the second biggest juice company in Canada, and he's working on another business. And we're working on new customer acquisition. Now, he's followed some of the instruction, and he has new customers as a column inside of his Facebook dashboard. And we were talking about, let's use catalog ads broken down by product category. There's different ad sets using custom labels, and then focus those ad sets on specifically the conversion event of new customer. Now that's something that can sit alongside of his one campaign hero product offer, and he's leveraging DABA. And in this case, I told him, usually Advantage Shopping, just try to get a front end, because you're not actually going to be leveraging machine learning nearly as much as trying to get people who are in the mood to buy. Because the reason Advantage Shopping works is they show ads to people based on their intent to make a purchase. So if you're showing your catalog to people who want to buy, you're not trying to make them product or solution aware. You're just saying, hey, I'm another option. So you're doing most of your customer acquisition is actually happening by market conquesting. Just see what category over the next month does the best at bringing you the lowest cost customer, and then look at the PSM of those customers, the profitable scaling margin of those categories, to see which ones you can use to leverage customer acquisition growth. Now, that's really fucking simple. It's going to take an hour to set up, and customer acquisition costs will probably drop in half. Like, that's easy. That is a reason to scale horizontally, because you're trying to, in this case, suppress customer acquisition costs. Because if you know people are going to buy more than once, every new customer has a greater LTV than a returning customer. And not a greater net LTV, but a greater LTV potential from where they are today. If the average person buys 2.5 times and they're a repeat customer, well, if it's their second purchase, they might only buy another half time. Let's be more realistic. Let's say the average customer buys 3 times. If they're a repeat customer, if it's their second sale, they might buy a third time. If it's their third sale, they might never buy again. But if it's their first, you're going to still get 2 more transactions out of that customer on average. One of those is much better for your cash flow. One's much better for your CPA. What are you trying to solve right now? And the last thing I'm going to cover here is surfing versus stable. Do you want to day trade by spiking budgets, where you go from $500 to $1,000 to $3,000, and then Facebook breaks and you start all over? Or would you like to add 5% a day 3 times a week, or 5% a day every day of the week, as long as your blended CPA is below target? Well, 5% a day 3 times a week will double your budget every month. If you're at 500, next month you'll be at 1,000. Month after that, you'll be at 2, then 4, then 8. You could have every single day be between 5 and 15,000, however quickly or slowly you scale. Every single day could be better than what happened when you were surfing the budget on exponentially less work. And you never have to start over again. And your ads get more and more stable. And you're able to work on search and email and SMS and all of the other things in the customer journey to make second purchases happen at a higher volume. Because remember what we said at the very beginning. Your profit comes from people buying from you a second time. That's how you scale a business. Building a business to scale is acquiring attention, monetizing it, and turning that into future cash flow. If you don't get to step 3, you'll only be ever as good as the ability to make a profit today. If you cannot acquire cash flow, you'll only be ever as good as contribution margin. And if you're stuck here, if you can scale your business by 30%, then you've done great. If you can get to here, If you don't scale your business by 200%, something is wrong. That's what you need to be looking at. That's what we're trying to focus on. That's how we solve these problems. All right, everybody, I know we have some more questions here. I'll get to like 2 of them, and then I got to go. Little girl needs me. Okay. I have a problem. I used to spend $5K a day, but then performance dropped below break even. Now at 300 a day, but not profitable. Giorgio, I think you have a lot more to worry about than your Facebook ads. And I'd love to be able to help you get into your funnel to understand half the things that we were talking about today, because solving those problems will allow you to have a higher budget. It's not about being profitable from your ads. It's how much of your profit do you invest in getting more. If you don't have a profitable business, don't run ads. How much of your profit can you invest in amplifying the volume of how you make profit? That's really, and honestly, Giorgio, if you want to do like a consulting call, I have a calendar up right now. It's just Disruptor School consulting call, I think is the URL. Let's see, Disruptor School / consulting call. Yeah, there you go. Disruptor School / consulting call. If you go there, you can buy an hour of my time, and I'd love to break this stuff down for you. And that goes for anybody. Let me just bring this up here while we're doing this last little bit. Disruptor School consulting call. Awesome. I'm going to share this. Present, and then window, and then boom, and then boom. There we go. Awesome. There you go. It'll look like this. All right. It's your time. You pay for it. You can record it. It's yours in perpetuity. All right, cool. Okay, I've been watching your content for a week. Would it be more efficient on Daba ads for prospecting for sales versus image? I have no way of knowing. Now, you say you've got 4,000 products and you're using Google Shopping ads, then just run Daba. And by the way, I don't give a fuck about your niche. Your niche has nothing to do with it. If you can sell more than one product to somebody, I love home decor because if I like one product, I can sell somebody something else. Find what product. When somebody's a repeat buyer, what did they buy the first time? Find the most commonly sold product that was the first transaction of all of your repeat buyers. That is your hero offer. Run catalog in Google search or shopping to everything else. Take some of the profits of the other things and run that to your cash flow device, which is that hero offer, and scale your business. That'd be the number one thing I would do. And I legitimately think that doing anything else is going to just destroy your cash flow in time. E-com to scale. Thanks for this. Check your site. Awesome. Go for it. Dude or dudette. I'd love to see you there. So all that being said, folks, thank you very much. I got to go take care of the little daughter. It's Friday. And that's for living. We do this so we can enjoy some life. So I'm going to go enjoy some life. Please sub to YouTube if you haven't already. It looks like about 30% of folks that watch my videos are actually subbed. The more you sub, the better it looks to the platform, and the more success that we can bring other people, the more independence and joy and opportunity we can create, and the more detrimental impact we're going to have on the low integrity operators. And again, I 100% have stated my goal is to undermine low integrity operators. And I have a personal relationship with these folks. I know that I talk about them. They know me. We've hung out. We've seen each other. We know each other. We have each other's phone numbers and DM. And I only talk about the folks where I have that relationship with. Believe me, there's a lot of other ones. And I'm only going to talk about the stuff that I've experienced. I've been in the Andrew Ferris ad accounts. I've been in the Hemonex ad accounts. I've been in the Common Thread ad accounts. I've seen their former clients or victims like come into Disruptor School and turn around from I might go out of business to how do I sell this business? That happens every year. You deserve more success and less stress, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. So go make the world a better place. Call your mom, tell her you love her, and post some random shit on social media about somebody in your life and just how much you appreciate them. And with that being said, I will see you all next time. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, you can join consulting calls if you want to. Join Disruptor School Inner Circle. It's $100 for the first week, and then $1,000 a month after that. So anyway, talk to you all later. Bye. Yes!